Live from a water-damaged basement in Prince George's County, Maryland. Welcome to our 4th annual social distancing show. How are you? How was your Easter time? How was your Passover time? How was your holiday? Mine was good with my fam. None of my children injured themselves in a way where we had to take them to the emergency room in the last time since I've seen you, so I'll take that as a win. Today, here we're going to, last one of these I did Nation of Heat, the first EP that I put out. And today I'm going to play, this is the first full-length record I ever put out. It's called Messenger. And a lot of these songs I don't play a ton of live or anywhere else. And one of the songs, which I'll get to later, I have never played in 7 years for some personal reasons that I'll talk about later on. But I'm going to play it tonight because, hey, man, keep it within the spirit of playing the entire record. So I'm going to start off now with the title track. And as we go through, I'll talk about all these different tunes. Afterwards, we have a very special guest who's going to jump on with us and talk about the tour that we did behind Messenger. And then we'll do some Q&A with you guys. And then we'll play a few more songs from the catalog to round it out. So thanks for being here. It's good to see you digitally. And here we go. Let's give it a shot. This is the first title tune off of it.
Oh, she's a messenger with body, boat, and bear. You've always been a gentleman, but tonight you can't help but stare. And your senses have been sold. It must be more than smoke floating out here. Oh, she's a messenger. If she knows, she doesn't care. Oh, she's a messenger, and slowly from within, her message has been amplified and written on your skin. And despite what you maintain, she drives you like a train. Here she comes again. Oh, she's a messenger. Where you going? Where you been? In all the humble lantern lights preside upon her path tonight. The stars have flown beside her and where she'll go. There is no chance to grasp or guide. The absent rain's a terrible tide. The stars have flown beside her and where she'll go. Oh, she's a, get you in the morning, she's a long season. Oh, she's a messenger tonight. You drove your truck to Michigan, but you couldn't beat the rain. You registered a motel, but you didn't use your name. In the audience applause on the TV down the hall, you wonder what they're saying. She's a messenger, her things said refrain. Oh, she's a, get you in the morning, she's a long season. Oh, she's a messenger tonight. Oh, she's a, get you in the morning, she's a long season. Oh, she's a messenger tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's the title track off that album. A lot of this album, Messenger, sounds like my first album, Nation of Heat, except that the title track, I'd become obsessed. My buddy J.J. Evans had given me, oh, hold on. Someone's texting me. Let me know if this sounds good or bad. Sound not as good as last time. Okay, hold on. Let's fix that. Let's see if the repositioning of the mic here is going to be better. I got a text message from my manager that it could be better, and with some suggestions, and I got a text message from my mom on how it could be better with some suggestions. So, manager and mom. Okay, I fixed it there a little bit. Let's see if this works. Yeah, most of the songs on this record sound like Nation of Heat, and I think it's smart. I think you should try to remake your first record if possible, because the thing is, people, they kind of hear about you when you put your first one out, but then if you got a thing going on, they really listen to the second one. And so I really threw a curveball by having Messenger be the title track on that one. I had become obsessed with Graham Parsons. My buddy J.J. Evans had given me the Flying Burrito Brothers records and stuff like that, and that Grievous Angel record. And so for about 3 months in time, I wanted to be Graham Parsons, and that was the 3 months in which I wrote and recorded that song Messenger. So it's kind of an outlier on the record. And here's a song. The second song here is much more indicative of the rest of the record, and it actually has a home in my set to this day, usually.
I was born into a circuit, but I ran off to join a home. Oh, they said that I was worthless, yet my family died unknown. So it gets and so it goes. That's what you get, I suppose, for wanting something more than a life of walk and roll. All the Christians left behind at the crossroads of your town, are they playing truth and dare neath the sanctuary now? Some wish they had the truth, some wish they had to go, but there ain't no sense leaving from the only game you know. Oh, I know how good you are, how hard it is, how good you are. There's a butler in your hallway. He is troublesome and old. He repeats the word alive to describe your family goal. You ask him please to go, but there's one thing you don't know. He carved April 7th, 65 into the side of your piano. Oh, I know how good you are, how hard it is, how good you are. Everything that you were meant for, everything that you were born to do, does not need you to do it. Someone else was born to do it too. Now, like a half-grown man, you barely learn how to stand. If you shut up with what you chose, you'll hear something choosing you. Oh, I know how good you are, how hard it is, how good you are.
Thank you. That was How Good You Are, the second song off Messenger, my first full length. Let me check the text, see if this sounds any better. But unless you, okay. I'm hearing that it's tolerable. Let me try one more fix here, guys. Audio. Well, I've already done all the fixes I can do, so we're gonna have to grin and bear it. How are you guys digging it out there in audience land? Let me see. Oh, they're distorting. Okay, I can fix that. Okay. Audio sounds pretty good from YouTube. All right. Okay. Where's everybody calling in from right now? Well, not calling in from, but watching in from. I'm seeing Champagne, Canada. All right. I hate crossing your border, but I love playing in Toronto, Vienna, Virginia, right across. They're coming in too fast now. Vashon Island. I did a vacation on Vashon Island once when I was 6 years old, and we brought a stray dog home with us. Fact. Let's see a few more. Oh man. Huntsville, Tempe. Oh man, this is great. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thanks for being a part of this. This is fantastic. Okay. Here's the third song off this one. This was actually written for Nation of Heat, and it could have been on Nation of Heat. And I think you'll hear that as we play it. It would have been right at home on that record. And I still play this one in the set a ton. I wrote this song when I was like 21 years old, and it's many years. It's 15 years later now, and I still love playing it.
There was a time when I heard you calling out my name, but these days I'm not so sure. When the room went dark and your voice was gone, I heard you all the same, but these days I'm not so sure. I knew I could remember you bedroom and your touch. But these days, I'm not so sure. Definitely was a word I used far too much. 'Cause these days, I'm not so sure. I bummed expensive cigarettes. I wrote John Steinbeck's book. I undressed someone's daughter, then complained about her looks. Stealing was so easy then, I wish that it still were. Now as I pick my own pocket, I know that these days I'm not so sure. The church was my kitchen, the world was my church. But these days, I'm not so sure. To choirs I would listen, to briars I would search. But these days, I'm not so sure. I sacrificed my sister, I prayed my own soul to keep. I told my dying father that a man should never weep. Breathing was so easy then, I wish that it still were. Now as the breeze just makes me colder, I know that these days I'm not so sure. So if you see me tripping, I've forgotten how to walk, and I spend my days wishing after her. My steps are without rhythm, and her name is drawn in chalk. 'Cause these days, I'm not so sure. I drank my wine for breakfast every morning I was born. In the black electric winter, my back was always warm. Sleeping was so easy then, I wish that it still were. Now in my sleepless bedroom, I know that these days I'm not so sure.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Let's see if I got any more text about the sound. Very professional. On my well, I got no more text about it, so I guess we're okay. We recorded this in Chicago at a great engineer and producer's place, a guy named Steve Shirk. We did it with him. And like I said earlier, this was the first album. When I put out Nation of Heat, when I was making Nation of Heat, I had the advantage of assuming that nobody was going to listen to it, because it's always a really good assumption when you're making your first album or making any album. It's a really good assumption that no one's going to listen to it. And that's an advantage in some ways. And then when we put this out, we put out Nation of Heat, and it kind of got some traction. It got some press, and people were starting to come to shows. And then I had to make this album, and I knew that people were going to listen to it. And that was sort of, it's a different way to make an album. And I think the people who are the best at it, I don't think I was very great at it, but I think the people who are really good at it are really able to put that out of their mind and not think about it at all, that there's any sort of pressure or anything like that. I just read an interview with John Prine where he was talking about, someone said to him, was it a big deal to you to have to live up to the songs from your first record? And he said, it wasn't until people like you kept on asking me about it. So and that's why he was able to put out so many great records in the 70s after that first one, because he didn't give a damn. Okay, here's a song off this record that I never play. I never, ever, ever, ever play. So be kind to me on this one. I practiced it this afternoon, I promise.
Was a girl in my hometown. They said she wore the sharpest crown. Beautiful as diamond tile. But they never took a picture 'cause she never learned to smile. It's not surprising. There's nothing exciting. I hope that she'll turn around. They say she wore the sharpest crown. She felt the darkness deep inside. She went and asked her mama why. She got no answer just because her mama was sleeping or pretending that she was. And it's not surprising. There's nothing exciting. Late at night you'll hear the sound. They say she wore the sharpest crown. Oh, I loved her, don't ask how. Must have had some reasons that I can't remember now. Some folks say I let her down. Yeah, but the same folks say she wore the sharpest, dangerous, that tore the darkness, held her like a 10-ton harness as I ran off for the farthest town. Yeah, they say she wore the sharpest crown.
Pretty dark. Pretty dark. But you know, that's just how I was feeling at the time. We're about halfway through the record now. I'm going to play one more song to get us halfway through, and then we're going to try. We have a new segment on the show here that I want to try out for you. We're building the airplane as we're flying it right now. So we might try some things that work. We might try some things that don't work, but we're going to try things. Okay? Let me play this song. This is, if you've got the vinyl album, this is the last song on side A.
After all the windows on the ground floor had been broken, after all the undemanding officers had spoken, after all the trouble, after all of the commotion, I walked right through. The door was always open. When I was 17, I set out on the ocean, searching for Columbus or wherever he was going. And then 20,000 miles came down to just a moment. I sailed right through the door. Was always open. I climbed the western wall without anybody knowing. I held the guardsman captive with a pistol I had stolen. But he just poured a cup of coffee and then said, son, now here's a notion. The next time you drop by, the door was always open. I waited for the sun, but it was already dawn. It was already dawn, breaking fast all along. And I waited for her song, but she was already gone. She was already gone, breaking fast all along. So it seems I've spent a lifetime arrested and beholden, standing on the threshold, absolutely frozen, waiting on some God above to tell me I was chosen. Instead I spoke myself. The door was always open. Instead I spoke myself. The door was always open.
Boom. Thank you. That's the end of side A of Messenger. I want to try something now on the podcast that I do, The Working Songwriter. I always during shows I usually read a piece of poetry. So this we're going to call this segment. Here's the poem, and we're going to call this segment the Soft Boy Poem Corner. So today's edition of the Soft Boy Poem Corner has one of my favorite poets, one of my favorite poems from one of my favorite poets. And here we are, Mr. Steve Scafidi. So here we are. Thank you, Lord, for the dark ablaze, for the deer gut-busted open splayed on the gravel margin of the highway to remind me and to horrify, which are the same when death comes to say anything. For dying is a song the body is learning. So thank you, Lord, for this enduring whir of days we ride the way a chisel carves down deep as it glides. For being is a lathe, and we are the turning, curving shape of what I come to praise. So thank you, Lord, for the edge of light, when the day is honed and all is bright, behind the eyes just before waking. For dream is a fire we are the lake of. Dream is the spire we are the church of. And the days turn so fast, meaning rattles hard and nearly breaks off. So thank you, Lord, for what arrives today crashing down without a warning like a pickup truck on the deer this morning, or the morning light all over me, while the sun flickers churning through the trees, like a wheel splashing rays on the redbud dappling. This holy thing I stand beneath, and I stand beneath, and that is all. For green is the mind of the spring returning, and dying a song the body is learning, which I will not sing or step to, although every day, oh, that is exactly what I do. Thank you, Lord, for the Dark Ablaze by Steve Scafidi. So I hope you enjoyed the inaugural edition of the Soft Boy Poem Corner. And I'm sure there'll be some feedback on that in the comments. I'm sure I'll be hearing from many of you on that one. Let me see if I get any text about how the sound's going. Okay, looks like we're okay. All right, well, let's go to side B of Messenger here, you guys. Some of these songs I need some help with.
First time I saw you, I saw crimson, I saw dark blue, saw the ocean we would drive to say our goodbyes. I saw winter, I saw new moons, saw the nighted bridegroom, saw the color of your bedroom and the whites of your eyes. Don't ask me how I knew, it was the first time I saw you. First time I saw you, I saw somebody that I knew. I recognized you from our first glance. See, I seen my share of counterfeits, and I used to have them hang around a bit. But once you seen yourself a genuine, there ain't no going back. Don't ask me how I knew, it was the first time I saw you. First time I saw you. Last time I saw you by the ocean like we both knew. Now I guess that I'm supposed to tell you that I'm doing fine. But it was the last time that I held a hand, was the last time that I gave a damn. I don't think I'll ever understand why I never found the time. I saw crimson, I saw dark blue. Last time that I saw you, the last time that I saw those two, was the first time I saw you.
Side B kicking off there of Messenger. Before I continue here, I want to take a couple questions because I always enjoy that part of the show. So what do you guys, questions, comments, concerns? What's up with y'all? New comments. Let's see. How did I meet my wife? That's a personal question, sir. My wife and I met in high school. My wife and I met first class freshman year of high school in Bob Garman's drama class. What am I drinking this evening? That seems to be a recurring question in these. I'm having I'm having a Dogfish Head. I forget what I was drinking last week, but it's probably something like this. If I can buy it at Costco, I'm probably drinking it. Let's see here. Justin Perkins asks, who is your favorite new artist? I've been listening a lot to a band. I think they're from New Jersey, pretty young, early 20s, named Pine Grove. I think they're really great. So I've listened to their first record a lot, and they have a song. There's two songs. I would look for a song called Darkness, and I'd look for a song called Endless. Those two songs are really good. So if you're looking for something new to jump into, you can't go wrong. It's really good. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about your new albums compared to your older ones? Well, this is always a tough one. I think I have a special feeling for my first record, Nation of Heat, because it really changed my life. I was just working for $15 an hour, helping build houses and working for a salvage company. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I wanted to play music, but that seemed impossible. And Nation of Heat changed my life. So I have a really special feeling for that album. And then beyond that, I stand behind all of them. We spend a really long time making each one, and a lot of arguments and the quality control is pretty intense, I would say, for us. So I stand behind all of them. Although how it usually goes is whatever my latest album is, I'm like, man, that's it. That's the best one. So right now it's my latest album. That's the one I like the most. Dogs, definitely dogs, no question. We'll do one more and then I'll keep on playing a little bit. LeBron or Jordan? Well, this is a tough one. And by the way, I want to compliment myself for managing to schedule tonight's live stream during the most important documentary on ESPN ever, which is happening on Michael Jordan tonight. I don't know, man. It's a generational thing. I'm a LeBron guy. I'm totally LeBron just because I was aware of Jordan when I was a kid, but as an adult, I've really gotten to see a lot more of LeBron games. I once played the Blue Door in Oklahoma City, specifically. I love playing the Blue Door, and I love Greg Johnson and all the people there, but I purposely booked the show solely because LeBron was playing the next night in Oklahoma City, and I wanted an excuse to go. So I've made a pilgrimage to see him before. I love him. I love everything about him. I think he, considering how famous he got and how young he was, everything was set up to go wrong for him, in that sense. And he's navigated it beautifully, and I love his game. And so with all respect to who's probably the consensus GOAT, Michael Jordan, I'm a LeBron guy. That's me. So all right, I'm going to play a few more tunes here. We'll do some more questions later. Thank you for those. All right, let's see if I can nail this one. This one has kind of a hard guitar part.
Take a walk on Sunday, it ain't that hard. Take a walk on Sunday, it ain't that hard. If my thoughts are hard to gather, if I don't know where to start, it ain't my mind that matters, for I have an unsophisticated heart. I tried to trust a stranger, it got hard. You know, I tried to trust a stranger and got hurt. Now I see things like a soldier, and I'm jealous of the dark. But if my eyes have only gotten older, I still have an unsophisticated heart. Or my eyes will be hardened, my voice will be guarded, my mind so bewildered and buried in the garden. You may still know me by just one part. I tried to keep your secret, it got hard. There was nowhere I could keep it, and it got hard. And there's one thing that's for certain, when they come with their dogs and their guards, I can't hide behind the thinnest curtains, for I have an unsophisticated heart. For I
Thanks. That's Unsophisticated Heart. After this next song, we're gonna have a special guest come on. Let me text our special guest to tell him to get ready. Click link in 3 minutes. He was on the Messenger tour, and I thought we could just chat with him for a little while. But before we do, this song gets requested a lot more than you would expect for, you know, the eighth or ninth song on a catalog album. But I like it a lot.
I wish that I could come to you disguised as someone else. Well, I wish that I could come to you disguised as someone else. Help you lift your luggage from the platform to the train. Ask you for directions that I don't need explained. You would never think to ask my name. Let's not put it lightly, I put us both through hell. Or I wish that I could come to you disguised as someone else. And I wish that I could work for you with someone else's hands. Or I wish that I could work for you with someone else's hands. To be behind the counter of a bookstore that you're in, charge you $7 for a crossword and a pen. You would leave and not look back again. Even hardened criminals, they get a second chance. Oh, I wish that I could work for you with someone else's hands. Oh, I wish that I could come to you, could run to you could sing to you, a stranger in your neighborhood who doesn't need a thing from you, singing now a long forgotten song. On and on and on. Let's not put it lightly, I put us both through hell. So I wish that I could come to you disguised as someone else. Boy, I wish that I could come to you disguised as someone else.
Thank you. That's disguised as someone else. Let's see where our guest is. He's watching. Okay. Okay, here we go. Awesome. Tim, if you got to turn off, please welcome, formerly of Philadelphia and now of the great city of Austin, Texas. He moved down there right when I left. Please welcome Mr. Tim Showalter. Tim, are you there? Tim, oh man. Well, this is why I'm a musician and not a late night. Please, Lord. I see the little box. Tim, can you hear me? Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah, I was just jamming along.
Bro, those some tasty licks.
Little tasty licks on this very antique Fender acoustic guitar.
Man, I'm assuming you got that Moog headband directly from the Moog factory at one point, right?
Yes.
It's the only place you can get
it.
Well, dude, just brought you on the show because of Messenger to talk about the tour that we did together on this one 10 years ago. Whoa, uh-oh.
Let me try this. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you better. Gotcha. Tim?
You're saying?
I just want to reminisce a little bit about the ill-fated Messenger tour that we went on together in April of 2011.
It was perfectly fated. I had the best time of my life. Got to meet my best friend on that tour.
It was only about 10 weeks long, so.
I think, and wasn't it supposed to be longer? Didn't we have Florida dates too that were supposed to get added?
Yeah, and we decided not to do it. And like, everyone on the business end was like, you guys are a bunch of wimps. You can't do a 13-week van tour.
13 weeks. I mean, it was the entirety of a season. We saw the entire spring happen over the course of that tour.
We did. And when I got home, I gained about 5 pounds. And Jamie also said to me, she was like, you're gray. Like all your skin is just gray.
Yeah, I think we had, I mean, for me though, it was insane because that was the first time where I'd been to a lot of those cities. I think the tour with you is the first time I ever saw the Rocky Mountains.
That's a big deal for an Indiana boy. Yeah,
that was huge. I'd never seen Los Angeles, Seattle, never seen any of those cities at that point.
That seems to be one of my specialties, is having lots of bands open for me that go on to great success and outstrip me immediately. It's one of my.
Well, I learned from the best. I just remember, like, was that the tour that I brought the pedal board that was the size of like a coffin?
Yeah.
I don't even remember why didn't I just play an acoustic guitar? I was so hell bent on those pedal boards at that point.
Yeah. Early 30s is a pretty deep pedalboard time for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, that's the demo. 29 to about 34. And then you're kind of like, I don't know. I don't need 17 delays on the board right now.
I'm just going to write a song instead.
Oh, that tour though was something else. I mean, I didn't have an iPhone. I mean, did you have I was still using like a normal cell phone at that point.
I bought one for that tour, and I remember being in the AT&T store and talking to the guy and be like, let me get this straight. I know I can get my email on here, but are you really telling me I can go on the internet on here?
Yeah. I can surf the web on here. Really? The web?
I thought it was like a trick, like a sales tactic that they were playing.
Oh man, the people we met too. Who was our Captain Too High? Was that outside of Austin, Captain Too High?
That was outside of Houston. We stopped at a gas station that was a specialty beef jerky store.
Yes.
And he wasn't a Hell's Angel. There's a version of Hell's Angels that they're like the nice guys. They're like the good Samaritan.
Yeah.
And he was one of those, and his nickname was Captain Too High.
Captain Too High. He gave us his card as well.
He did. Yeah.
And it was kind of an ominous thing of like, if you ever need anything, call me. You mean in Houston or across the entire country, county? I mean, I think he's got it all covered.
Oh my God, Captain Too High. And then it ended in spectacular fashion. We in New Mexico, we had New Mexico gig and then an Oklahoma City gig. I've already mentioned the Blue Door once here. That was the first time I ever played the Blue Door. And we had to get there, and the GPS led us where we were driving on like a rural road, and then like one of those cattle guards stopped the road, and then a dirt path went forward, and we had to drive our van on a dirt path over a mountain. I don't know why we did that in retrospect. I would just turn around now, and I would just miss the next gig.
Well, I think we were trying to get from Taos.
Yeah.
We went to Taos. We played Albuquerque. Yeah. And then we went to Taos because that awesome dude let us. He had a whitewater rafting expedition, and we went whitewater rafting, and then ended up somehow in Taos and just crossed whatever mountain killed all of the pilgrims or pioneers. We decided to take that on ourselves. I think we stayed the night in Tucumcari.
No, Tucumcari,
Oklahoma City.
Tucumcari.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, Tucumcari. Yeah. God. And that was, I mean, we didn't even know who we were or what we were by the end of that tour, but it still was like, I genuinely had fun all the way until the end. It was just like the best. You allowed me, like, for those out there in the audience, also I picked the greatest angles for my phone here. But for those of you in the audience that don't already know how good of a guy Joe Pug is, I'm doing a compliment here, Joe. But
I'm deeply uncomfortable.
Joe, I was the opening band on that, and Joe, I had no money at the time, and I had no idea how I could do this tour, but I said yes. And Joe let me just ride in his van. I didn't pay for gas. I think the only thing I had to pay for was hotel room. And that literally like allowed me to be able to that tour to happen and a career to happen since then. I bet my booking agent at the Lincoln Hall show we played, and but yeah, didn't a lot of people try and get you, but Joe, I didn't pay for gas, didn't do anything. You just allowed me to maybe sometimes drive, and most of the time just I don't even remember I didn't have what was I doing? Reading books, I think, on that. Remember reading books?
It's funny to look back and think, well, if I didn't have a cell phone, was I even living? Was there?
Yeah. What was I doing? Was I looking out the window at the Rocky Mountains or the skyline of Los Angeles for the first time?
Well, dude, thanks so much for coming on our weird pseudo late night program here.
And you sound great. I love this record.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. And I'll call you this week, brother.
I'll talk this week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Tim.
Have a good night.
Okay. Well, I don't know how that worked or didn't work, but you can let me know. Like I said, we're just going to try a bunch of things. Some of them are going to work. Some of them aren't going to work. And I think that went all right. So here's a song I haven't played this song in 7 years. I stopped playing it after I attended my grandfather's funeral at Arlington Cemetery, and I got to witness a military funeral, and I just didn't feel comfortable playing this song after being there for that and seeing it. It affected me a lot, and I'm going to play it here because I want to, stick with the plan of playing a whole record. I think it belongs in this record, but I'll probably going forward. I don't think I'll continue to play it, but it was part of this record, and I think I don't want to go back and rewrite history. So.
I was falling dead in battle. Must have been Tuesday, I don't know the date. I did everything everyone asked for, but I'll say where I'll be late. Many dead of my comrades all look the same in this place. Won't you bury me far from my uniform, so God might remember my face? Do not bother with Congress, with the rich, or with the rest. I fought their battles in this world. I'll not fight for them in the next. Do not find me justice, just find me a grave, and then bury me far from my uniform, so God might remember my face. Oh, my mother, you'll cry for me. Take me out of your dreams that I'm in. You must promise never to think of what is not and what could have been. I'll not return to your table, so don't save me a place. Just bury me far from my uniform, from the iron cross metal I would have worn, from the statues that sisters and widows mourn, from the newspaper clippings and microphone, from Geneva, The Hague, and Nuremberg, from the sex this world that I'll no longer take. Won't you bury me far from my uniform, so God might remember my face? I know God will remember my face. Merciful God, please remember my face.
There you have it. Thank you. Once in a blue moon. I'll grab another guitar here. Well, before I play our last song here, I'd like to do just a little bit more Q&A with you guys. So send them my way. Okay. So go ahead and send. Okay, let's see. This is from Sam. Are there any aspects of other people's songs that irritate you or things that you try to avoid doing in your own songwriting? That's a great question. I would say one thing that irritates me in general, I had a sixth grade English teacher who railed against using the word thing. And for some reason, I didn't learn much in school, but I've always tried not to use the word thing. that irritates me. I don't like, I guess it's mainly sentiments that bother me. I don't like twee sentiments. I don't like patronizing sentiments in songs in general, unless I really trust the singer. I don't like sort of nostalgic sentiment in songs. So Jacob Bennett asks, advice for a young songwriter. There's only one thing. There's only one thing you need, and everything will work for you if you have it, and nothing will work for you if you don't. You have to have one song that opens up the world for you. You have to have one song that people, when they hear it, they have to take it to their friend and play it for their friend. And if you have that, nothing will be able to stop you, especially in this world where we have Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Like, if you have a song that people have to share with one another, you'll go forward. And if you don't, it doesn't matter what label you're on, doesn't matter what manager you're with, doesn't matter what agency you're on. It just, you might get a little bit of push at the start, but if people don't feel like showing one another your music, they're never going to care about it. So advice for a young songwriter would be, you just have to focus on the songs. You have to try to write a song that transcends everything. And if you do, it'll work. I promise you that. I've never seen someone write a completely transcendent song and it just goes not being heard, especially in this day and age. Maybe it happened back in the day when the technology was different, but in this day and age, no. Let's see. Best Bucky Baxter story. So we did a tour once. This would have been about 2012 with, there's a very famous pedal steel player named Bucky Baxter, and his son, Raylan Baxter, who I'm sure a lot of people know now, was just getting started. And Bucky said, listen, why don't we do this tour together where Raylan will open the shows and I'll play in your band? We're like, wow, yeah, Bucky Baxter. I mean, Bucky was Bob Dylan's pedal steel player for a decade plus. He played for Johnny Paycheck. He played for Steve Earle, of course, too. He started really in Steve Earle's band. So, we took Bucky on the road. And the funniest part about having Bucky on the road is he was like, look, Pug, I'm going to come on the road with you, but I'm not riding in your van, man. I'm taking my Mercedes. So he took his Mercedes and drove next to us the whole time while we were in the van. And he would take different members of the band would get to ride with Bucky in his Mercedes, depending on what the day was. He would choose someone that he would pull over and he would drop wisdom on them the whole drive. And I remember he gave me 3 pieces of advice. He said, he told me that there was a way that I was singing that was wrong and it was stripping my voice. There was a way that I was strumming the guitar that was choking the guitar and breaking strings. And there was that was the third thing. I can't remember it. Long story short, the 3 things he told me that I had to fix, I would learn over the course of the next 5 years that those were the 3 things I had to fix. He was absolutely right. So it was an honor to travel with Bucky, and he's a trip, man. I'll never forget it. Oh, and he sent me a big ass gasoline bill at the end of it for his that Mercedes, man. That's a gas guzzler, apparently. Okay, let's just do a few more. Eric asks, what effect has the evolution of social media, YouTube, had on your career? I think it has. I mean, I don't think I'd be doing this for a living if it was 20 or 30 years ago, because I think you either got really big or you didn't do anything at all. There was no middle-class musicians back in the day. And this allows me to be a middle-class musician. It allows me to not have to live in Nashville or Los Angeles or New York. I live in a water-damaged basement in Prince George's County, Maryland, and I'm raising a family here, and I'm playing music for a living. I don't think that career existed for a lot of people back in the day. And I think that new technology has really made that possible. Let's do one more. Oh, we'll do this one, then we'll do on this one. How's my daughter's arm? I told you last week I got pulled out of socket. She's fine, but she's insane. Good night, Veda. We'll see you. This is a good last one to end with. Can you address the religious references in many of your songs? The imagery is gorgeous. I don't know where all that religious imagery came from. I grew up in a pretty agnostic household. I don't know where it came from in me. I think I've always been drawn towards literature and books that have that sort of imagery in it. And I find myself returning and again to the idea of wanting some very simple archetypes in my life. I want to know what ultimate good is. I want to know what ultimate evil is. I want to know, how being personally responsible in this life could lead to good things. So I think there's just so much religious imagery in the culture at large that I must have just sort of picked it out over time, and it just suited me. I don't know what to say other than it just suited me. It spoke to me. It made sense to me. There's a lot of the bluegrass music that is explicitly Christian. Those songs have always really spoken a lot to me. One of my favorite songs is the Emmylou Harris version of Green Pastures, which if you haven't heard that, you should go listen to it right now. And it has one of my favorite lyrics in it. It's those who were called were sought by the master. I'm sorry, those who have strayed were sought by the master. Those who have strayed were sought by the master. And I just think that that's a beautiful thing. So I've always just been drawn to that imagery. And I couldn't tell you why. We like what we like, and we're interested in what we're interested in. And that's about it. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for being here tonight. I'll be here next week. Same bat time, same bat place. I'll play my record, Great Despiser. And I'm going to leave you with this one. I appreciate you guys so much for being here tonight. Thank you from all over the world, all over the country. I hope everyone's doing as well as possible. I hope everybody is healthy, as healthy as can be. I hope you're as prosperous as you can be during this time. And I can't wait to get back on the road and play music for you again at some point, whenever that happens. Here's the last song on Messenger. Thank you so much for being a part of these Sunday night concerts. They mean the world to me. I'm having a really good time, and I hope you are too. All right, I'll leave you with this one.
Oh, speak plainly, Diana. There's nothing to understand. Yes, there's mysteries in the basement, but there's comic books upstairs. And there's a wrecking ball in the front yard, but there's blueprints on the couch. Speak plainly to me, Diana. We'll build ourselves a house, and I don't mind riding around. I don't mind riding around. There's no safety, Diana, and there's nobody to blame. Even daylight will surprise you. Even dreams will end the same. So when there's too much to remember, and you remember me, speak many to me, Diana. We'll swim into the sea. I said I don't mind riding around. 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 Oh, come lately, Diana. Quit what's got you down. Steal from the tallest cabinet and make your favorite sound. When there's too much to get rid of, and you get rid of me, Paul, speak plainly to me, Diana. There's nothing you must be. I said I don't mind riding around. 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 I don't mind.
Guys, thank you. Thanks so much for being a part of this. Thanks for listening to Messenger in its entirety. Thanks to Steve Scafidi, the beautiful West Virginian poet. Go look up his work. Last name is Scafidi. Go Google him and find some of his beautiful poems. That one was called Thank You, Lord, for the Dark Ablaze. And and thanks to Tim Showalter for dropping in and talking about the Messenger Tour. I hope you guys stay healthy and well, and I'll see you next week. Peace.